I started meditating about 30 years ago. I learned my first meditation techniques from my first martial arts teacher. So the single-pointed mind meditation technique is a very powerful concentration technique for meditation. And it involves concentrating on particular chakras. And the chakras are energy centers in our energy body. Not only do you develop concentration and the ability to hold your mind still, but once you become adept at this particular meditation technique on the chakras, you can raise the Kundalini energy. And the Kundalini energy is a very powerful energy of transformation.
Okay, and we're on live with day 22 already. Day 22 of the 30 days to raise your frequency. Thank you for joining me today, my friends of meditation and mindfulness and other Facebook groups that may be seeing this at a later date. Of course, I'm taking all these live videos and uploading them to my YouTube channel, which I'll provide a link for in the comments if you want to give me a like and a subscribe on my YouTube channel. That would be awesome. So how's everybody doing out there? Day 22 already. My, how the time flies. And you know what it makes me, you know what it reminds me of? It makes me think of how short our lives are, how quickly time flies. And you know, there's an old saying, what's up, Ashley? Glad to have you on, my friend. As always, I appreciate your being here. You know, it kind of makes me think of that old quote. The problem, this is supposedly attributed to the Buddha, saying that the problem is that you think you have time. Damn. Now, as a 46-year-old person, I can tell you that there is absolutely truth to that. You know, all of a sudden, half of your life is passed before you, and you know, sure, there may be a history of accomplishments that you can be proud of, or you know, a history of good times with friends, family, loved ones that we can think back on and say, you know, I've had a good life, I've had a good run. But how quickly it all goes by. In a blink of an eye. We are young and youthful, and then all of a sudden 10 years just whew, gone. Out the gate. And it really makes me think about, well, how precious each day can be. Each time that we sit down to meditate. How productive can we make it? Can we make it more productive by putting out more effort? And is effort truly the right word to describe meditation? I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about what meditation is, but today we're going to do a guided meditation. And let's see, I would say if you divide, never been great at math, 4/5 of the meditation is dedicated to concentration. 4/5 of the meditation is dedicated to concentration. Now, why is that? Well, it's because concentration is one of the most crucial components, predominantly largely overlooked by a lot of new meditators. Because it's through the ability to concentrate, whether you're concentrating on your breath, whether you're concentrating on the repetition of a mantra, whether you're concentrating like we are on the yantra, a visual focus device, or a chakra, an energy center in your energy body. No matter what your focus is of concentration, it's important to utilize a little bit of concentration in the beginning, in my opinion. And from my experience, you know, I've been using this meditation method that I'm about to share with you here for a number of years. I started this particular method when I was 18, back in 1992. So, is that 30 years? 20-something years? I don't know. Well, I started meditating when I was 15, but they were predominantly breathing meditations, where I focused on the inhalation, feeling my belly expand, focusing on the exhalation, and it was a very calming meditation. It brought me to a sense of peace and calm, the breathing meditation. And it wasn't until later, when I was 18, that I learned this method that I'm about to share with you momentarily. And this is the method of single-pointed mind concentration on the chakras. And it blew me away, literally. Because, until we're exposed to something, until something is shared with us, until we know about something, perhaps we just don't know that it exists or that there's another way to do something. And so this is why I'm so adamant about coming on here and sharing this particular technique with you guys, because I've tried a lot of different meditation techniques and they all have their value. They all have their place. And whether you're an absolute beginner, intermediate, or an expert, there's a meditation for you. And I believe that you should stick with the one that gives you the best results, that you feel the most results from. And by results, we all know what we're looking for in our meditation practice, whether that's just overcoming anxiety, becoming more calm, becoming more mindful, or perhaps it's more of a spiritual pursuit of self-discovery, realizing the truth. Perhaps you're on the path toward enlightenment, toward liberation, self-discovery, Buddhahood. Whatever your predilection, whatever your proclivity, whatever your interest is in meditation, I'm a firm believer that we need to go through a period of learning concentration in the beginning. And there's a book that I recommend for you guys out there. If you haven't read it, it's a very fundamental text that I believe every sincere meditator should be reading. And it's called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I did a podcast on this a few months ago. And the text is so clear in that it outlines the cycle, or the outlines the path of yoga. Now, when I say yoga, of course, I'm not referring to commonly what's referred to as yoga these days, which is the physical yoga. Going to your yoga class and doing postures. Love it. Full respect for all yogis and yoginis who can do those physical postures. I'm not necessarily that flexible, but my wife is very into yoga, and I respect everything that she does with it, because it is a very difficult, in the beginning, it's a very challenging, it's a very important discipline to have. Of course, my personal favorites are martial arts and weightlifting, bodybuilding, in terms of physical exercise. Of course, I love other things like bike riding and mountain biking and going for hikes. But in terms of my disciplines, it's weightlifting. I just love the challenge. I love the push. I love the ability to... The author, Ashley, of the Yoga Sutras is Patanjali. P-A-T-A-N-J-A-L-I, I believe. It's Patanjali. And there's many different... He was the original author. There's many different translations. I can't really recommend a particular one. You could probably find it for free, to be honest, online if you search enough. There's a lot of free PDFs out there. And the reason that I find this text important is because it outlines the full discipline of yoga, the full path of yoga. And the word yoga, traditionally from India, means to join. It's a path of enlightenment, a path of self-discovery. There are many steps to the path of yoga, which involve meditation, involve concentration. It also involves purification, eating the right foods. You could say that a lot of what Buddhism is, and the way that I've studied and looked at Buddhism and practiced Buddhism in my during my path, is that Buddhism is a science of self-discovery. It's not a religion. It's got nothing to do with religions. Religions are generally dogmas developed to control people, to control your mind, to give you a viewpoint of life, to give you a... Religions are generally a placebo. They're an opioid of the masses. Religions, and if you're religious, don't take offense to this. Just hear this one guy's opinion of it. I grew up in a religious family. I grew up going to church. I grew up going through all those rituals and routines and never found any value in it personally. Religion is generally a salvation game. Religion will offer you a chance to become saved if you believe, if you have faith. Now, I am a proponent of faith, but having faith in something that is reality. Now, generally, a religion will, take a young mind and condition it to believe that this is the only way to, quote-unquote, God. And we've fallen for it in our Western societies. For me, and please take no offense to this, because I'm only here to speak the truth, my truth, love me or hate me, I have to tell the truth of what I have found. Because it's only through people who are brave enough to tell the truth, to tell it like it is, that we get anywhere in life. If I'm going to sugarcoat everything for you and tell you what you want to hear to make you comfortable, that's not good for you, it's not good for me, and it doesn't help anybody. Now you can turn this video off and unfriend me, block me on Facebook. It really doesn't matter in the end, because the truth, in my opinion, we have to speak our truths, whether it's the truth or not. It's what we know of as the truth, and we need to be courageous to speak our truths. So, religion is sort of like keeps you a child mentally. It keeps you relying on a salvation principle, that you will be saved, that mere belief is enough. It's also very illogical in a lot of ways. We could talk about that to a great extent if you really prefer to, but we're here to meditate. We're here to, you're not here to listen to my opinions about religion. But suffice it to say that if you're interested in meditation, you're in the right place, because meditation is, in my opinion, the only way to salvation, if there is such a thing. We have to take into our own hands and save ourselves through hard work. What else would it be? Now, you might say, well, meditation shouldn't be hard work. Okay, I can agree with that at the higher levels, yes. At the higher levels, meditation itself is a state of being, is a state of non-doing. No effort whatsoever. But the problem is, when we step back from that, is that when we're first beginning meditation, we don't know how to get to that state. Even though that state might be our natural state, a pure state of mind, in which we all have. But the problem is that it's buried. It's covered by the conditioning of the mind since day one. And I talk about this a lot, but I feel like this is such an important issue that we need to discuss time and time again. It's the ideas, the thoughts that condition and block us from this pure state of being that is a natural essence of who we are. It's the reality of who we are. And you can only really know this by experience. Sure, you can take it from somebody like me who's telling you it, but I don't recommend that. I never recommend listening to what I say and taking it on face value. I recommend simply watching the meditation. If you're new to this and this is the first time on, maybe watch the meditation with one eye open and kind of just see, hey, does this guy really know what he's talking about when it comes to meditation? Because I'm the first to say that, words can deceive. Words can confuse. So there might be something that I say that you don't like, that sets you off. So don't listen to that. Just watch the meditation process. I'm not perfect. I'm no master. I'll repeat that. Even when I become a master, I'll probably still say I'm no master. But the point is that you can see a transformation occur each and every day when I sit down to meditate. Now, this is not about me, but what I am here to do is provide an example of what meditation can offer. I'm here to share my own meditation technique that I do personally every day and that I have done for years because I believe that it works. So I urge you that if you're skeptical, if you're new to meditation, not to necessarily listen to the words I say, or anyone for that matter, but watch them meditate. The meditation is the litmus test. It's the true test of if what I'm saying has any merit or not. Again, it's not about me, but if I'm saying that this meditation works, well, it should also work for me, not just saying it's going to work for you, right? So, I oftentimes get crazy on tangents. Forgive me for that. Getting back to the book, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, it discusses the full path of yoga, which is a transformational process. We have to overcome the conditioning. The conditioning is a byproduct of our education, indoctrination of societies, cultures, cultures. It's a cult. We're grown up into a cult of personality. Awakening is awakening from the dream. When we awaken from something that's not real or it has a relative reality. What are we awakening to? Something that is more real. It's like when we get up, when we waken from sleep. When we're sleeping, we're dreaming. The dream has a relative reality, meaning it's real to us in the moment while we're in it, but then we awake and then we say, oh, that wasn't real at all. That scary monster that was chasing me or whatever was just a figment of my imagination. Or maybe it was a real astral being chasing me in the astral plane. Who knows? But it's all relatively real, isn't it? There's only relative reality, unless it's the ultimate reality. So, what I'm interested in is the ultimate reality. Now, how do we get to the ultimate reality? We have to prepare ourselves. The book, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, prepares you for this journey, prepares you for this path. This path is a path of self-discipline that requires a great deal of sacrifice, a great deal of change. But, of course, it's worth it. The problem is that the world is so awesome. There's so much to be attracted to in this world. Whether you're into videos or video games or food, sex, drugs, going to the mall, shopping, whatever you're into, there's plenty of it, and it surely can seem attractive. But take it from somebody who's probably tried it all and can tell you that, yeah, it's fun to have a little bit of a pleasurable experience when you eat that ice cream, but we know that if we eat too much, we're going to feel like crap. So that's a good example, is that we can overindulge in pleasures of life. We can satiate the senses quite easily. And the good thing about meditation is that there's no satiation because it's beyond the senses. When we make contact with light, which is much more real than this plane of existence. Of course, everything is created from light. Everything is created from energy. And because I'm doing this with my hands, it makes it sound more real, doesn't it? I like to make fun of myself because I'm nothing, I'm no one. It's good to have a sense of humor. Laugh at yourself. Man, the crazy things I've done. Oh, the stupid things I've done. It's ridiculous. And if you look back and you laugh, it kind of heals it a little bit. Because oftentimes we carry with us all these things, don't we? We take ourselves way too seriously. I know I do. This is part and parcel of why I meditate. To clear the crap. You ever wake up from sleeping and everything just seems okay? What happened the day before just doesn't quite matter as much? When we sleep and we go and we get away from this dimension for a while and then we come back, it's like, you know, what I did yesterday was stupid. And I'm not saying, you know, but it doesn't matter, does it, as much the next day? And then, of course, the next day even less. Meditation is like sleep. It very much is like sleep. This is one of the things I wanted to point out today. And I'll get to that in a second. I know you're eagerly dying to hear why meditation is like sleep. But the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, absolute recommended book, because it really shows you the nitty-gritty of what it's all about in terms of purification, right living, right thoughts. It's, in my opinion, probably where, I mean, obviously the Buddha was from India, and he codified and created Buddhism based on his own experience. I mean, remember, this is just an experience that one particular enlightened individual offered. There have been many enlightened beings. You too can become enlightened. Just follow my program. No. Well, maybe. You should always have high hopes. Now, of course, I'm not enlightened, but I believe that enlightenment is possible. And what is enlightenment, anyway? Well, there's a whole process that we could get into in terms of what is enlightenment and how to get there. But that's for another video, right? We need to talk about why meditation is like sleep. But yeah, definitely check out that book, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And the reason why is because it outlines specifically meditation and how concentration precedes meditation, and meditation precedes samadhi. You have concentration, meditation, and samadhi. If I'm to translate the words in Sanskrit or whatever language it is, I think it's dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. But I could mixing up the dhyana and dharana because they're very similar sounding words. But they both start with D's, and they both sound similar. One means concentration, one means meditation. Of course, samadhi means absorption. So there's literally a step-by-step process that happens in our meditation. In the beginning, we concentrate. When we can concentrate for prolonged periods of time, and Patanjali, who was a yogi, you know, thousands of years ago, who wrote this book, outlines that when you can concentrate on one object for a certain amount of time, this becomes meditation. Meaning, it's about how long you can sustain a single-pointed concentration. Because what this does is it interrupts the thoughts. The thoughts are the curtain that divides you from the experience of yourself. And your true self, your core, is reality. What else could it be? We're alive. We're not powered by batteries. And surely, if you're into meditation, you know that consciousness is not created by the brain. If you still believe that, well, you're probably still in, 101. And that's okay. But you're here and you're listening to me. I'm only in 101.2, so don't worry. The idea that consciousness is created by the brain or the nervous system, to me, is absolutely ridiculous. We are more like a Wi-Fi router in that we are antennas. We're crystals. What do crystals do? Well, crystals are based on how the radio works. They're transmitters and receivers. Crystals have an immense amount of intelligence. They can store information. And so we ourselves are a crystalline being. And we transmit and we receive. So, you know, this is where it kind of gets paradoxical and can be confusing, but it's good. It's my job to confuse you, I think. Because when you're confused, you're broken apart. And it's only when we break apart what we think we know that the fusion can then reform, rejoin, and then there's a new, more evolved form that takes place. And each and every time we go into a meditation session, we should become unraveled. We should become confused. We need to confuse the brain because we think we know. We think we know. But it's the thoughts that are tricking us. The minute you think you know, that's when it's time to throw out those thoughts. I don't know. It's got to rhyme in order for it to be real, right? So, why is meditation like sleeping? Well, because when we get still, what are we actually talking about when we talk about stillness? And why are there 5 steps to stillness, Rob? Why can't there just be 2? Come on, make it easy for me. Well, sure, you can do 1 step to stillness, but the 5 is what makes it easy because we're progressively getting more still. But why still? What is becoming still? Well, sure. What's becoming still is what's in the way. It's the obstacles. One of the biggest obstacles is our bodies. Thusly, our bodies need to be pure. Sorry, folks. Now, that doesn't mean you have to give up all those vices of your favorite, you know? If you like to have a little this and that sometimes, hey, I'm no one to lay a moral trip on you. The most important thing is that you meditate. Do whatever you want to do in life. Pursue whatever you want to pursue. But if you meditate, it'll take care of the rest. No rules, just meditation. That's the only rule. Got to meditate. And you got to meditate with some interest, with some fervor, with some passion. You got to meditate with some effort in the beginning until you can get over the obstacles. So the body is obstacle number 1. So when we meditate, we need to keep our body very still. Now, what is the body? The body is a complex system of all sorts of stuff, especially the nervous system, because it's the nervous system that is what we feel. It's the nervous system that makes us itch. It's the nervous system that makes us twitch. So what else goes into the body? Well, the foods we eat, we drink. So if the body itself is impure, if we're eating junky foods all the time, if we're indulging in the wrong things all the time, if we're not eating the right things all the time, well, the body will become something that will take time to transcend. Now, of course, you could sit down and transcend the body within one meditation session, within a few moments after some practice. But try doing that after eating a whole pizza. I've got a video of that on my YouTube that I did a few months ago in the last challenge. I ate a whole pizza, which I love to do periodically, you know, because I like to indulge. I felt like shit afterward, of course. But we know we're going to feel like crap, but we do it anyway, don't we? But the point is that I had to meditate later that night. And I was so full, no matter all the breathing exercises and stretching that I did to kind of get that dough moving in there, I still couldn't get over that hump, that lump. It just kept, my attention kept getting drawn back to it, you see? And so this is why right living is so important. Because right living involves actions, what we do with our bodies and our minds and our speech, right speech. What we say affects our mind. How we treat others affects our own well-being and our own karma. And of course, what we eat. You eat like crap, you're going to feel like crap. And if you feel like crap, your meditation's going to be crap. Because it's very difficult to overcome that, especially if you're new to meditation. So this is why all these guidelines, it's not some moral trip, it's not a dogma, it's a system of practical things that you can do, practical practices, because it does need to become a practice, a daily way of living. This is why I was always attracted to martial arts and Buddhism and meditation, because these are ways of life. Religion to me, for 99% of the people I see, religion is not a way of life. It's a tradition that you were given from your family, typically, or brainwashed into by some speaker, some passionate preacher, that you go to on Sunday, and then you can't wait to sin on Monday. For whatever that's worth. You know, so I was looking for more. I was looking for the truth. So I want the truth. I want reality. No sugarcoating, no bullshit. Just tell me the truth. Well, it turns out the truth cannot be spoken in words. So when I was 18, I was fortunate enough to come across a meditation master, a fully enlightened being. You can look him up. His name was Rama. R-A-M-A. Rama was the name he went by. He had numerous students for many, many, many years. Left the body back in 98, but I was a student of his between 92 and 94, 95-ish. And what I learned was that the truth cannot be conveyed in words. That the true way of learning meditation was to sit with a meditation master. And there is a non-verbal communication. In fact, a fully enlightened meditation master, who is also what's called a Siddha master. Siddhas are the powers, the yogic powers that are developed, that you too can develop, especially when you're focusing on these chakras and you raise the Kundalini energy. You see, everything is based on energy. If you don't have energy, you're pretty much useless, right? This is why we drink our coffees. This is why we eat food. Food is energy. Calories is just a form of measuring energy of the food. Now, whether that quality of energy is any good or not is debatable. But you get the idea. Case in point, you feel good, it's generally easy to be happy. You feel bad, it's kind of hard to be happy. So there's ways to feel good that are productive, that won't satiate. And this has to become your lifestyle. Does it make sense? Of course it makes sense. You're intelligent folks. Only intelligent folks would sit here for this long and listen to this crazy guy babble inanities when they should be meditating. So we seek to gain and conserve energy. This is the true esoteric practice of advanced meditation, advanced Buddhism, is the gaining and conservation of energy, because it takes energy to get into higher states of consciousness. We're looking for higher states of consciousness. That's where the happiness is, because if happiness was found here in the physical realm, well, it'd be bought and sold, wouldn't it? Now, of course, a lot of hype and dreams are bought and sold. And things are, you know, out there that claim to make us happy, but we all know that's not true. That's why we're here, because there's got to be something to this meditation, man. I tried everything else. This better work. This is the last straw. So, you know, so how is meditation similar to sleep? Because when we wake up from sleep, we feel refreshed, we feel good, we feel like we've been away. Problems don't matter as much from the day before, or we're more clear-headed. In very similar terms, when we still the mind, when we still the body, when we go beyond the conditioning of the senses, the thoughts, it is a very similar process of putting those things to sleep. Because when those things like thoughts, you know, projections, images, distractions, when even our attention is active. We need to put our attention to sleep at the end. That's what step 5 is all about. Prior to, and we'll go over the 5 steps to stillness here in a second here. Prior to the 5th step, which is arguably the most important in this meditation, which is why it's left for last, because we need to prepare for it. The 5th step itself is an effort to put all that to bed. You got to put yourself to bed, tuck yourself in, tell yourself a story, and then go to sleep. So the thing is that there's something that can never go to sleep. There's something that is eternally awake. And that's what we're seeking. Consciousness is eternally awake. It's wakefulness. It's the essence. So we can go to sleep because we can die. Death is asleep and life is an awakening. We wake up every day to a new life. Now, of course, it's the same old life if you have the same old mind. But you could die right here in this meditation. It's a metaphorical death, of course. It's not a physical death. But maybe even physical death is a metaphor. Do you know? Have you died lately? I don't know. We're all afraid of death, right? To some degree. But we're not really afraid of death because we don't even know what death is like. Maybe death is beautiful, glorious, blissful, ecstatic. It might be the most ecstatic thing that we've ever experienced. I think what it is that we're attached, and so we fear change. We're attached to everyone and everything in our lives. And so we fear losing all of that. We fear losing the familiar, and we fear the unknown. So we feel the change, or we fear change. But I have to tell you that meditation is all about change. It's all about changing, transforming, evolving, getting rid of the old self so that the new self can be reborn, born anew, can be reformed. And then that reformed, new, evolved self has a new, reformed, evolved perception of the world. And that is essentially how we progress toward happiness. Because we ourselves become less and less in the way. We ourselves become less and less attached to the physical world because on a daily basis we are moving out of the physical and into other dimensions, and therefore we're not so attached because we know this isn't all there is. We have the actual experience of moving beyond the body. And so, for me, this is what meditation affords us. It's a path to transformation. It's a path of transforming and transforming ourselves and evolving ourselves to a more purified, refined, more evolved form, and eventually dissolving that form entirely. So you can do that within each meditation session, and that's what the 5 Steps to Stillness is designed to do, is to evolve us and then dissolve us. Oh, another rhyme for you right there. Boom! So shall we? We shall. Let's get to it. Thank you for your patience, my friends. I appreciate you listening to my ramblings. As you know, I love to ramble. Ramble on! Here we go. 5 Steps to Stillness. What we do is we progress from concentration to consciousness. The idea is that concentration is something we do. Consciousness is something that is ever present and eternal. So in order to progress toward it, we have to get rid of what's in the way. So we first begin by concentrating because we need to become still. Otherwise there's just this mass of confusion. There's just this mass of scattered awareness. So we first bring our awareness to a fine point. This does 2 things. Number 1, it overcomes the scattered attention and awareness that is very inefficient. And when we have a good focus and concentration, this can absolutely help us within the 3D physical realm, whether it's work, whether it's study, whether it's just being a better person in this realm. It should make you sharper. You'll have a better memory, a better recall, a better mind, a better way of communicating, relating. So it has a practical purpose that immediately is felt But on a more esoteric spiritual evolution basis, what we're doing is we are bringing all that thought that normally is a obstruction, and we're bringing it to a fine point and holding our concentration on, let's say, one of the chakras, let's say right here. And by doing that, we're stilling that point that's the distractive aspect of the mind. It's like it's in the way. It's like we have this mind that's like water, but the water is rough, it's full of dirt, it's not clear. So by making the mind still, the dirt settles, the water becomes clear, and the light can shine through. Makes sense? So what this does is it clarifies the mind by bringing it all to a single point. It also disciplines the mind. It develops the mind. It disciplines it to not be so distracted all the time, so that when you get out of the meditation, you have an undistracted, clear mind. And the second thing it does is it raises what's called the Kundalini energy over time. Maybe not in the beginning so much, but once we're able to focus and concentrate on a single point on the chakras, what we're doing is we're raising the Kundalini energy. And remember, it takes energy to move into higher states of consciousness. It takes energy to remain in higher states of consciousness. And I don't know about you, but I want to remain in these higher states of consciousness as long as I can, because that, to me, is the reality. It's the more real perception. You know, do we want to look at life through a lower consciousness? Probably not. Do we want to experience life through a limited perception? Probably not. Especially when we know that we can move beyond limitation. So, clarifying, pinpointing, honing, sharpening, overcoming, through the stillness, through the discipline, sharpening, overcoming, and eventually quieting that mind. This is what stillness practice does. This is what single-pointed mind does. And then raising the Kundalini energy, raising our frequency. This affects the energy body. It's our energy body that is our true body of multidimensional perception. This is the body of energy that has the chakras, the channels, the meridians, chi, ki, kundalini, prana. The energy flows. And when the energy flows properly, we are healthy. Our physical bodies become healthy. Our immune systems improve. By raising our frequencies, our psychic and energetic immunity improves, meaning we can ward off and repel negativity. We can ward off and repel anger, violence, aggressive energy that might be thrown at us by the random guy or gal when we're out and about. You never know. People are in lower states of mind. People are in fearful states of mind, and they'll do all sorts of crazy things in those states of mind. So, it's good to be strong. It's good to be tough, and that's what meditation should make you, strong and tough. Yes, it'll make you calm. Yes, you'll overcome your anxiety, but this is all very initial stuff. This is sort of like the side effect of meditation, is that you're going to be calm. You're going to reduce your anxiety, because it's the crazy thoughts that's making you anxious. So we bring that to a point, we raise the energy, and then we go beyond it all. Then we seek to dissolve into the consciousness, and to have that faith and trust that by allowing ourselves to surrender to the consciousness, to let ourselves go in that moment, that we will return, hopefully more evolved and more refined, more purified form that will constantly evolve spiritually to a point where we're less attached, therefore happier, and our lives are better. So, there you go, my friends. Sound good? Let's get to the meditation. So with the 5 steps to stillness, I will guide you through each step, beginning with step number 1. So, if you're sitting in a chair like me, sit with your back straight. It's important to have a good posture. Maintain a good straight back, good posture, as if you're holding a book on top of your head and you want to walk around with that book without the book falling off. Okay? I like to sit at the edge of the chair. Nice and awake, kind of like on my butt bones. If you're sitting on the floor, in cross-legged position, keep the back straight. Now with our yantra, hopefully you've got it printed out. If you haven't printed out the yantra, it's available at the top of the group in the announcements section. Go to the announcements section, announcement number 1. You can find a link to print off the yantra. Pause the video if it's not live right now. Print off a yantra. Put it up on your wall or put it on a little table in front of you if you're on the floor. So what we do is we want to focus on that yantra with our open eyes at that center dot. Again, if you've done this before, you know what to do. If you're new to this process, you simply focus on the dot with your eyes. When the mind wanders, when the attention wanders, when the eyes wander, just bring it right back to the dot. The goal is to hold your gaze, to hold your attention on that central dot without wavering, without letting your mind wander. So as you get better at this process, you'll be able to hold it for longer and longer periods of the time. In the beginning, it might just be for a few seconds, and then your mind wanders, you bring it back a few seconds. Push yourself, try to hold it there as long as you can. You gotta try to lock on. This is where the effort that you put out will come back tenfold. The more effort you put out in this technique, the more you get back, the more you overcome, and the longer the effects will last. If you don't have a yantra, just watch the video for the first song or listen to the music. Let's do this. Here we go. Take a big deep breath. First, let it out. Inhale. Exhale, let it all go. Relax the body, but maintain a good posture. Focus on that dot and hold still. Just breathe naturally throughout the entire meditation. Keep all of your attention focused on the focal point of each step. Forget about everything else. Only that dot exists. Here we go. Step 2. Close the eyes gently. Relax all muscular tension and energetic tension in the body, in the face. Take the fingertip and place it about an inch below your belly button and press gently into that area. This is the navel chakra area. Remember, the chakras are in your energy body. This is a location that was as close as we can get. When we move our attention to that area, we want to feel the energy around the navel center. When thoughts or distractions come in and out of the mind, ignore them and just try to hold on feeling that spot. You may feel a heat or a little tingling sensation. Try to lock onto that with your attention and your awareness. Once you've locked on with your attention on the navel center, you can remove the finger and continue to hold your attention at that spot, feeling the energy. Stay still. Try as hard as you can to hold your attention there. Ready? Go. Step 3. Move your attention up to your heart chakra. Place the fingertips in the center of the chest. Press lightly and feel the fingertips pressing into the chest. once you've locked your attention on feeling that spot, remove the finger and continue to hold your attention on the heart chakra. Feel on an energetic level the feeling of love, the feeling of bliss, the feeling of joy. Relax all muscular tension and energetic tension. Hold your awareness on feeling that spot to the exclusion of all else. The only thing that exists is that heart chakra right now. Now move your attention up to the third eye chakra. Place the fingertips between the eyebrows and slightly above. Press gently into the forehead. Relax all tension in the face, in the eyes. Focus on the feeling of the fingertip pressing on the third eye. Now move the fingertip away slowly, maintaining that feeling. And hold your attention still on feeling the energy at the third eye chakra. Now, step 5, let go of all concentration, let go of all focus. Surrender to consciousness, surrender to the stillness. Put that part of yourself to sleep that is in the way, and realize what is always awake. And just sit in silence for a moment, being very still. No movement whatsoever. Let go of the need to be in control. When you're ready, slowly return back to your bodies. But allow for the new self to emerge. It's as if we're waking up from a deep sleep. And we're coming back. Refreshed, renewed. Take a moment. Don't do anything. Just sit. Observe the room around you. Notice any changes in your perception. You may feel calmer, you may feel at ease. And this is the reference point that we have now established through the meditation that we can return to periodically throughout the day with our mindfulness. by bringing ourselves to this point, we now have a point of reference that we can return to at any time. And each day we go deeper, farther, we become more still. And then someday we don't come back. Were we ever gone? Was there ever an us to begin with? These are the eternal questions, my friend, that you may never get an answer for. And at a certain point, there's no more questions. There's no more answers. There's just life, light, enlightenment. What comes back is just a very thin, transparent veil of perception. The personality that we once were. We see the limitations, and we can become playful with life. You don't have to be a particular person. You don't have to be a particular personality. You don't have to have a particular history. All that can be erased, so that we're always new. We're always pure perception, pure awareness. So, thank you again, my friends, for joining me with the meditation. And Ashley asks, says, thanks Rob, when will the next 30 days to raise your frequency be after this? And well, this will probably be the only one that ever exists. Because it's never happened before. I've done numerous 30-day meditation challenges in the group. This is the first one that's ever been called 30 days to raise your frequency because of the times that we're in right now. Of course, my light burnt out during the meditation. We're raising our frequency now at this time to ward off any, to be prepared for whatever might be in terms of the changes. Meditation is a process of preparedness in that whatever may come with life, we should always be free. We should always be non-attached. We should always be on the path toward self-development, self-discipline, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Next time is not guaranteed. All we have is this moment. 21st century is yesterday. In excess, anybody? So, yes, as you may or may not be aware, we're doing, I'll be launching another private coaching program, which I do periodically to, so I'm debating whether the private coaching program should be a 30-day program or an ongoing membership program, to where it'll be kind of set up very similar to this. I'll be doing meditations. It could be a weekly group Zoom call where we do a guided meditation. We talk about meditation. You get your questions answered. The goal with these programs are to keep you meditating, because we all know how easily we can, if you've been meditating for a while, you know how easily we can slack. You know how easily we can get off track. We know how easily we can become unmotivated. And so I think the best help I can give you is to keep you motivated, to keep you meditating every day, right? Of course, teach you the technique, develop the nuances of the technique, improve the technique, evolve the technique, lengthen the meditation, because let's face it, within this 20-minute meditation, we're kind of just scratching the surface. That's why I kind of like to have that little pause at the end with where it's silence. So you can kind of solidify the experience. In the coaching program, it will be called Concentration to Consciousness. It'll probably be a community, a regular subscription membership. $30 a month, I think, is a fair cost. I've run this before with a few other students during the last meditation challenge that we did in the group. So of course we've done periodic meditation challenges, and I'll be offering more details of that shortly. It'll be a very simple process. It'll just be you ready to do it, and we'll all kind of just keep doing it. That's the point, to keep doing this, because if you're new to meditation, it's very easy to have to be excited in the beginning. Take it from somebody who's been meditating for 30 years. I can't honestly say I've been meditating every single day for those 30 years. It's been a waxing and waning of motivation. Now, I could probably say I've been the most consistent since I started this group over 3 years ago, in terms of, you know, back when I was with my teacher, I would meditate, obviously, twice a day. Well, not obviously, but I was meditating twice a day for 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the evening. And I can tell you that over the course of, you know, the few years I was with my teacher, I made the most progress in my meditation. So this is why I started this group back in 2016, because a lot of people just dabble in meditation and they never really receive the full fruit, the benefit of meditation, because it really takes a daily discipline. It takes a practice, an ongoing regular regimen to develop the skill, to develop the art, to develop the sensitivity. And as human beings, it's very easy for us to get complacent. It's very easy for us to get lazy, to become distracted with the world and other worldly things. And so I think the best approach is to be part of a group, to be part of a membership group. So I started this group, Meditation and Mindfulness, originally as a 30-day meditation challenge group, because I wanted to challenge friends, family, I gathered them all to come on and meditate every day. And we did the same technique. You can actually search, if you go into the photos section where you see videos here in the group, you can go all the way back to the beginning and see some of the first 30-day meditation challenges that we did. And you'll see I basically have said quite the same thing over the course of the years, because you have to master the process to a certain degree, to whatever degree we can, you know, muster to master the process. It's important, because that's what will get you through. Ideally, if we can meditate on our own every day in silence, then that would be great. And that's kind of the goal. So in the course that I teach, in the group coaching program, we learn to meditate to silence with the same technique. We learn to meditate for a little bit longer with the same technique. I'll show you how to use the Insight Timer app to program how to format initially maybe 20 minutes, then bring it up to 25, then bring it up to 30, 35, 40-minute meditations. When you start to scratch the 30-minute mark, you can really notice a difference when you practice each day, in terms of the stillness, in terms of the lasting effect that the meditation gives you. And so it's not necessarily how long do you meditate for. You know, you can meditate for hours each day and just be spacing out, and that's not going to do you any good. You could boast that you meditate for hours a day, but I'm a firm believer that it's better to do a much more focused, intense, shorter time period. Master that first, then extend by 5 minutes. Get familiar and acquainted with that, and then extend 5 minutes more. Each, you know, periodically, you'll know when it's time to extend your meditation. It's not about how long you meditate. It's about how well you meditate within that particular period of time. You know, it's like a workout. When you go to the gym, you know, or you're lifting weights or doing cardio. For example, weightlifting is a great example. You know, you can get a very productive workout with weights within 30 minutes. A lot of people spend hours in the gym, but they talk. They take too much time. There's no intensity, and therefore their transformation is very marginal. It's not a very great transformation. But if you can spend a lot of time, if you can spend your time wisely and put some intensity to it, yeah, baby, intensity, then that's when you're going to get something out of it. And if you notice in this meditation, the more intense you can focus on that yantra, the more intense you can focus on that chakra. As we move up, that intensity morphs and changes into a more subtle feeling. We can still be intense about the commitment that we have in terms of holding our attention on a single point, but it's not so much of a push. In steps 1 and 2, yantra and navel, I recommend trying to push. Hold it there. After every meditation, I'm sweating. I don't know about you guys. Anybody sweating out there? It's your body should heat up because your mind uses calories to hold. It takes a tremendous amount of willpower to hold your mind still. And this is nothing new. It's not like some people can do it really well and some people can't. Yes, you have to develop your concentration ability. Some people have developed it through years of being in a technical career. I talk about this. If you're a computer science programmer, engineer, architect, someone who has focused, musician, professional musician, mathematician, someone who has focused their mind to a great degree, with a great intensity, over years in their career, decades, then they may have the similar kind of development that you'll get through practicing this meditation technique. So it's good to do productive things with your mind and your time outside of the meditation. Whether you have an art, a hobby, it's good to keep your mind focused and work on something. Work on a hobby, work on an art form, learn a new skill, read a book. My teacher was a very, he recommended careers such as computer science, programming, technical skills. He recommended reading books all the time to keep your mind working, keep your mind working out, strengthened, strong, to keep your mind in a form of concentration. Whether you're a musician, that's what my art form is. I love creating and composing music. Whether you're playing an instrument, whether you're composing electronic music, you're putting your mind into detailed work. This is going to develop the mind. Whether you're a computer scientist and you're programming or you're an analyst, whether you're a strategist, whether you're an engineer, whether you're creating something, you're putting that effort out that will develop the mind to a very fine degree. That'll assist your meditation. That should be part of your practice. Some type of art, some type of skill, keeping the mind sharp. You know, if you just meditate all day and then chill and you don't really challenge your mind, you're going to reach a limit eventually to how far you can get in your meditation. But if you're constantly pushing it in your outside of your meditation practice with some type of art, some type of skill, some type of new learning, then that will translate to your meditation practice constantly getting better, constantly evolving, constantly overcoming plateaus. Because eventually you'll reach a plateau. Eventually you will reach a complacency within your meditation. You'll be like, okay. And my teacher called it professional meditation. When you can sit down, you can focus, but you just reach a plateau. You never go beyond. This happens to everyone. And then there's times when the motivation wanes and waxes. So yes, I'll be putting out more information certainly very soon about that. But it'll be a very simple process of just signing up and getting on board and continuing this practice. Whether I'm going to come on and do a daily meditation or whether it's going to be a weekly Skype call, private. It's usually, it definitely will involve what I had last time I did the coaching program. A private Facebook group where only members can come on. They can ask any questions about meditation, kundalini, chakras, mindfulness, lifestyle, energy, how to focus better, how to overcome the mental chatter, all the questions that you have about the particular technique. It'll involve instructions on the 5 steps to stillness technique using the Insight Timer app to program the meditation so we can do it in silence. I tell you, when you do it in silence, it's a much different experience. But bottom line is it's the motivation. It's the stick-to-itiveness. It's to have a coach. What does a coach really do? You know, what does a trainer really do? Is it keeps you motivated. It keeps you meditating, working out, whatever it might be. To be inspired. This is why I'm here. This is why I take the time to come on here every day, to inspire people. And to show you that, hey, I'm out here, I'm meditating. This is a great practice that everyone can benefit from. And I hope that you are enjoying the benefits. So yes, after the 30 days to raise your frequency, it will be sort of a seamless transition into the Concentration to Consciousness membership group. So thank you, my friends. I will leave you with that today. A long one today. Long-winded I am today, but I think there was some good stuff given. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. It depends on my mood. It's never scripted. I never know what I'm going to come on here and talk about. It all comes from my own experience with meditation, with martial arts, with reading different books, with being with my teacher, and just, you know, it comes from a place that is, it's pure, it's real. I only speak from the heart, I only speak from experience, you know, so that's just who I am and what I believe. So thank you guys. I appreciate you, and you guys take care. If you have any more questions, feel free to just drop a comment below, and we will see you tomorrow for day 23. Take care.